this webinar, then you have you can look through all of the different like details that I show, right? So let me share my screen again. Okay, so let me see if I share the correct screen. All right, I did. Okay, so let me just present this back, right? Okay, so let me. All right, so let me just give you. Let's go back quickly to for those who just joined us. So welcome to the How I Transition to Software Developer 3 times My Income Without a Degree webinar. And then if you have any questions, just post them in the Zoom chat. I'll answer at the best of my abilities. And the goal for this session is for you to learn how to code faster after years of myself learning and teaching code in universities and, academies like primary school, secondary school, little kids as well. And then I can show you a proven template to land tech jobs and tech projects. And who's this for? If you want to get a job in tech, if you want to start freelancing in tech, or if you want to build your own tech startup as well. So let me introduce myself. My name is Haris, general partner at Sigma School, former Google developer expert. I managed to earn $8,000 for 1 week of work. That was, I think, a few months back. That was like my peak career kind of thing. I've taught in universities such as SMU and NTU, and also helped students transition to software developers. And this was my past student. So Zachary, right? So Zachary, he now currently works as a mobile app developer at this startup called L Connect. So L Connect is basically a company that helps people find jobs. And then he used to be a former safe distancing officer. So basically during the pandemic, he he tries to advise people not to be so close to one another to prevent any any spread of the disease. All right, but it wasn't all bed and roses, right? So let me just go back to right now it's like 8 years, sorry, 6 years, 2023, 6 years ago, right? So 6 years ago, I was working in Gardens by the Bay. So it's a very nice garden in Singapore, and I worked as an attraction ops. And this is literally what I did during the job that I was there. I was telling people not to touch plants, right? Because the plants might die from you touching. And doing this job, I was doing it part-time, and I was earning $1,000 per month, right? And it wasn't great money, right? I really need to survive. I need to have money. And the reason why I was working part-time is because I was rejected by all of the good universities in Singapore. So you might have heard of NUS, SMU, NTU, and then there are a couple of universities out there that I applied, but none of them accepted me. So in the end, I went to like a part-time university in psychology where the barrier entry is like really low. So but I knew that I need to like study, right? So psychology was was the direction that I was going back in 2017. So I was like just scrolling through social media back then, and then I saw this article where it says that high tech bootcamp targets students with no paper qualification. So there was this like coding boot camp. I didn't know what was like boot camps. I thought, like you go to the army and then you go through this boot camp, and then it's like that's how you become a soldier, right? But then there is this tech boot camp. So it's like what, army person who learns like tech along the way. I don't know. But one interesting fact about this was the story of this lady in this picture. So this lady over here, her name is Gabriel Ong. And the weird story was that she had offers in universities, but she decided that she wants to get a job as a software developer. So the thing is, she didn't want to go to university. She just wanted to go to being a software developer. And then she became a software developer just by going through this coding bootcamp that I've never heard of before. And then the article explains a little bit more. Like, she didn't really have work experience. She was 19 years old. So for those who understand A-levels, right? She just graduated from A-levels. So she was roughly around 19 years old. So she had no work experience from the article itself, and she had no degree. But then she managed to get a software developer job through this coding bootcamp. Then I was like thinking, what's to be a software developer? So the first thing I asked, right, is how much does a software developer earn? right? So some of you might be thinking, okay lah, I mean 2017 now, so I didn't know how much software developer earns, right? It wasn't like a huge thing, right? So I was like, okay lah, maybe not so much, maybe about I know $3,000 per month. So I went to Google, right? Software developer salary, and then once I saw 6 figures, I immediately went to quit my part-time university, and then I joined a coding bootcamp that was around my budget, right? Because I could earn this much being a software developer, right? And it was insane because like I thought you must have some work experience, you must have to be smart, and then you need to like go through a degree, but you just need to go through a coding bootcamp. So this was me in this coding bootcamp called Alpha Camp. So from what I've researched so far, they are not running any coding bootcamps in Singapore, but this was the coding bootcamp that I joined. So this was me, right, wearing the cap, right? And the thing is, the coding bootcamp itself, it was really intense. And from what I've compared myself with other students, I was actually the slower ones, right? Meaning that if I were to present projects, right, because in the boot camp, every week you have to present like certain projects, and I have projects that didn't work, right? People present like nice looking websites, people present like working websites, and I was the ones like, I have a website and then it doesn't really work. And then was like, I felt like shit lah. I really didn't feel that I was up for it, but I knew that I shouldn't give up, right? Because I knew that like I can earn that much just by going through a good coding bootcamp and just learning to code, right? And then luckily I managed to graduate. So all of these are my classmates, and they range from like, people who were like me, who was studying psychology, to people who were starting their own businesses, to people who want to transition careers. And then this person over here, right? He is a zookeeper. A zookeeper, and he managed to learn and build websites, web applications, right? And all of this was done under 3 to 4 months, right? So we took around 3 4 months. We were able to learn ourselves to build web applications and all that. So it was like a huge sigh of relief, because we managed to like go through such intense rigorous like learning itself, right? And after months of finding a job, I managed to get my first software developer job. So this is my name. I mean, this is my contact number, but this is my offer of employment as a software engineer. And my first salary was $3,100 per month, right? So in 2017, right, I didn't really have put in the slides, but being a graduate, a degree graduate, right, your salary is roughly around 3.5, right? Me as a software engineer with a salary of 3.1 without a degree, that's insane. And I had to only go through 3 months of like education. So that was like a turning point, right? Myself, just in 1 year, I quit my part-time university. I joined a coding bootcamp, and it helped me earn $3,100 like base salary. And I earned a degree pay without a degree. That was like my shining moment of like, oh my God, coding is the real shit. Yes, I'm not earning $100,000 per month, but earning this much, a person without a degree, is a lot for me, right? So like you can see a graph, right? In 2017, I was earning $1,000 part-time because I didn't really have qualifications to even get a job, right? And then after that, just by learning to code, I managed to 3 times or even more my monthly salary just going through a coding boot camp, right? It only took me 1 year, 3 times my income, no degree, and no actual like working experience, right? So I thought I had to be smart. I thought coding was not for me. I thought I need a work experience. But in reality, right, I was a slow student and I still managed to go through it. I actually enjoyed coding because it was challenging, even though it was hard, but it was really challenging. I liked it. And then I thought that I need work experience, but I don't need work experience. I managed to get a job without any work experience, right? So that was something that I couldn't fathom. It's like my friends who went through uni 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, right, of universities, they earn as much as me or a little bit more than me for starting salary. But I'm like, dude, I just finished in 3 months and I'm I'm here. I'm like, what? All right. So it was really something. So then after going through many years of like being a software developer, and then after that teaching as well, and then also doing my own thing, right? Hopefully I can give you the 3 secrets of the future proof career, because I don't think that I'm not just like a special person. It also worked for other people as well. As you've seen from, my first few slides, a student of mine went, to become a software developer, and I've seen many other students have gone through it, right? So these are the 3 secrets of how to future-proof your career. So why tech is the most lucrative career? Because $3,100 per month, you might be thinking, okay lah, in this current age, not so, like it's not that good, right? And then I will show you how much and what's the potential you can earn. And then secret number 2 is how anyone can be a developer without experience or zero talent. I mean, that's literally me, right? I have no experience, I have no zero talent. I managed to be a developer. And then lastly, secret number 3 is why now is the best time to upskill. All right, so let's go through secret number 1. Why tech is the most lucrative career in the world. So right now in every industry, it needs tech. So in Singapore, there is this thing called like a smart nation. So they are trying to make Singapore itself, right, to be tech forward, right? So personally, for me, just to share a little bit of story, I injured my knee from rock climbing. So I had to go to the hospital to get it checked, and then like to go to physiotherapy. So like going to the hospital itself, right, it can be a little bit of like a burden because you need to wait and all. But now, right, in Singapore, everything is done by the app. What do you mean by that? So you want to go for an appointment, and then you want to know how many people is before you. There's an app for that. Okay, after you see your appointment, your doctor, right? And then you want to pay. I wanted to pay. I went to the counter. Then the counter person, oh, you can pay from the app. Do you want to pay from the app? I'm just like, sure. So everything, like almost everything in the hospital is everything in an app, right? So that's like Singapore's way, right? And many others that I have seen already. So IT, obviously, from the word technology, means any IT industry requires tech. Healthcare already. Financial services. My friend, he's a financial advisor. First thing he shows me is an iPad, and then he just shows everything. So he needs to learn how to learn tech, right, to do his job. Retail and e-commerce, right? Now everything is on the app again, and then you can, you buy stuff from what? Shopee, Lazada, everything. Manufacturing, factories are becoming smarter, right? They have sensors, they have robots, right? Telecommunication. So your SIM cards, your phones, right? Now everything can be looked at your app, right? So how many gigabytes of data is in an app already? Energy, you might not think energy is part of tech, but it is, right? Because now, I mean, I'm just talking from Singapore, but if there is a country that hasn't the technology that uses tech, right, it's a huge opportunity, right? So in energy, in Singapore, everything is on the app. I can see how much I spend. I can see how much I can save, right? Education, schools are using laptops, right? So I've taught in schools, right? And that's and I always tell this story because like when I teach in school, right, it's a compulsory thing for primary 6. So 12 years old kids have curriculum that they have to go through to learn tech. And it's not like coding tech, it's like drag and drop tech. Like primary 6, and age of 12, it is part of, Singapore's education curriculum. So Singapore itself is, preparing the future generations to be, at the front of the innovation and tech. So they start from young, right? Primary 6, and then in secondary school from age 12 and above, every school already has laptops, and then they also go through tech curriculum. They learn how to, build projects. They have to learn how to use, sensors. All of this is not like, a few schools, a few privileged schools. No. Every single school has to learn tech. So age 12, 13, 14 has to go through tech. It's not like a CCA or a hobby that they go through. Every single student has to go through it because they know that that is the biggest opportunity for these future generations to go through. Media entertainment, social media, right? Now, like, the normal, traditional media, now they're all going to YouTube, they're all going to TikTok because they know that traditional TV, even though there is still industry, it's already becoming smaller and smaller. And then transportation and logistics, right? So you want to grab, you want to take a taxi, you can use your app for that. Logistics are similar to like manufacturing, like when you order something online from an e-commerce website, and then they say, oh, it's coming in 2 days. How does that work? Using tech. So you might be thinking, oh, like Google, Twitter, Facebook, all of these tech companies are only hiring tech people. No, every single industry right now is hiring tech. Okay. And if any industry doesn't require any tech, maybe you can help me. Maybe I'm missing out, but I believe that if you don't have any integration of, we call it digital transformation or any tech input, right? I can safely say that industry might be, losing out on a lot of opportunities ahead. And then for yourself, how do you earn money as an individual, right? All of this industry, of course, if you join them, you can become, as an employee. But what about yourself? So there are people who are teaching, right? Teaching. So I teach last year. For the majority of the time, I have people who are working as employees, also teaching on the side, and it actually earns quite a huge sum as well. And then consulting, meaning that if you're a developer at a specific tech. So for example, I was very good at Flutter, so I have an opportunity. Actually, a Malaysian company reached out to me on email, and then they wanted to transition their existing tech, right? Their mobile app system from a previous technology to Flutter, which I was good at, and they're willing to pay 30,000 ringgit. 30,000 ringgit for me to just consult. So consult means like maybe teach them how to do things, and then learn how to learn Flutter. 30,000 ringgit. That was their budget. I was like, oh my God, and then freelancing. So freelancing can be, building projects for, businesses. So businesses are looking out for, products. What I mean by products are like services, when you go to a F&B restaurant, right? Maybe like McDonald's, right? In Singapore, McDonald's, everyone goes through the kiosk and then tap, 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 that kind of thing, right? So sometimes it can be built by just one person or a team. And these are like freelancers, right? Meaning that they work at their own schedule. So if you don't want to get hired by or you want to be an employee, but you want to be a freelancer, there is opportunities out there as well. And then getting hired, that's the majority, right? And it's also such a good path, because once you become a software developer, like myself, right? Once I become a software developer, I was open to so much more opportunities out there, because when I become a software developer, I was working at a startup, right? Then I went and explored a bit of like what opportunities out there, and then people are actually telling me, hey Haris, are you interested to win this? Haris, are you interested in winning that? And it's like, oh, I just because I was a software developer, a lot of people have ideas for me. And then some companies also want to poach me as well, because, tech talent is always in demand. And then lastly, if you're ambitious, you're an entrepreneur, you want to, build the next whatever, right? Right now, AI is a huge thing, and a lot of AI startups are, popping up. So this is another way for you to actually make use of the wave of technology. I think last year or 2 years ago, the wave of technology was Web3, NFT, blockchain, right? A lot of startups get very, very rich, and now not so, but now the AI is the next wave, tech wave, right? All of this, right? From my experience, like 5 years, I think it's still very short. 5 years of, a career in tech, there will always be technologies and hype, right? But as a person, right, who is a software developer, who is, I would say, like, who loves to learn tech, if I were to, for example, switch my mind and say, okay, I want to be a blockchain developer, it's not so hard. And people will actually hire you, even though you don't have like 5 years of experience, because blockchain is still very, very new. So people will still hire you, and you can learn on the job. And the amount of money that you get from blockchain companies are like insane, right? Okay, and this is some of my source of income that I have worked. So projects I worked before. So a client reached out to me on email as well, saying, hey Aris, can you work on my mobile app? So Flutter is mobile app, right? And then I say, okay, sure. I start at the first, actually I was teaching him for like 90 USD per month, and per month, yeah, 90 USD per hour or is it 60? I forgot. But I think, yeah, roughly around there. And then I just asked, why not I just do the project for you? And then he said, sure, how much? And then I just like give a ballpark because I'm not a good negotiator. I say 3,600 USD, right? And they say, sure, why not? And the work that I did was maybe less than a month of work. And I managed to get 3,600 USD. And it's remote work. The client is a US person. He's a normal average Joe, but he wants to get his app done. And it was pre-COVID. So the opportunities of remote work is actually already apparent, or I would say available, before COVID happened. And then like I say, the $8,000 in 1 week, right? So that project, right, or freelance project was just building slides, right? And it was for an education company, and it's a bunch of slides that I had to build. And I just say, okay, for this $8,000, and then they, okay, sure, why not? And I managed to finish that work in 1 week, $8,000, right? And best part, remote work as well. I didn't have to travel. And then teaching for those who who don't really have clients coming in, but like there's opportunities out there to teach, right? And you don't have to be a good teacher. You just need to learn how, how basics, like a lot in Singapore, there's a lot of like, coding schools for little kids, and they, teach basic Python, and usually you just learn on the job. So for me, the highest I get paid is $110 per hour. Most likely I will increase my rates because I know my shit lah. But I have opportunities to teach physically. So NSMU, I have taught there before. And most of the time, I also teach remotely as well. All right. And lastly, my first software developer job, $3,100 per month. And then for that startup, they did like a biannual monthly increment. So I managed to negotiate from 3.1 to 3.6K per month. I think, to be honest, like I feel these are just like below or like little bit below average kind of thing. Like all of these numbers are below average. I have people who are software developers who are earning so much more than me just because they know how to build applications, they know how to code. So all of these are not just like fluff and all that. These are things that I have experienced myself before, and I have other friends who have done it as well. And the best part is you just need a laptop. That's all. You don't need to go through a physical school. You don't need to, have to buy, equipments, all that. You just need a laptop, right? And then, I mean, of course, you need internet as well, right? So this can be done using a laptop. So hopefully, I convince you that tech is the most lucrative career. And like in Singapore, it is a big focus on the current education to the future generation, which is the students, and also to the current workers in Singapore to actually upskill in tech so that they won't be left behind as well, right? So, right. Okay, so secret number two. So how anyone can be a developer without experience or zero talent as well. So find what is demand. So if I were to tell you, okay, you want to be a developer, right? And how do you start? So that's a very, very common question that people ask, right? So the thing is, for me, before even looking at job posting, find out what is your interest in tech, right? And it can be an industry, it can be a technology. So for example, if you love, playing games and you envision yourself being a game developer, that's the path that you go through because that's where you are most interested in. And that gives you the highest motivation, right? Imagine, right, if I were to tell you like, oh yeah, learn data science everywhere, right? But you're interested in gaming. So might as well just go through what you're passionate about. And back then I was very passionate about mobile application. And then I found this framework, which is Flutter. So I was really, really good at it. So my advice is actually to just, do a little bit of self-awareness and see what you are interested in, right? And that's like your base, right? So if you like games, yeah, you can go learn about game development. If you want to, you deal with a lot of data and you want to improve in whatever workflow that you have that using data, maybe you can explore data analytics or data science. If you're like a visual person, then web applications, mobile applications is for you. And if you're a very logical person, then there is this thing called like a back end. So what do you mean by back end development? Meaning that, right, any logic, any data that's being sent to the database, and basically how do you then transform this data into the database itself? That is called back end. And some people like it because it's just dealing with data, logic, that's about it. All right, so that is back end, and then database, or there is another thing called DevOps. And then now also there is a trend of cyber security as well, right? So if you've seen, you want to be a hacker, if you like challenges, right, and like hard challenges, because cybersecurity has to deal with like hard challenges, then yeah, cybersecurity is for you. So start with your self-awareness, which I recommend. And then after that, if you really want to get your job ASAP, you can go to job posting on LinkedIn or India's or any software developers you want to dream in your company, then you go for that as well. And then find what tech they use, right? So like, for example, game development, you can research on Unity. They use the programming language C#, right? I've taught that before. And then if you want to learn data science, Python. If you want data analytics, then it's also usually Python. Web development is like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, mobile app, all of that. So all of these things, a lot of jargons, but don't worry, all of this, right, can go through this thing called roadmap.sh. All right, so write down roadmap.sh. So you say, I want to be a front-end developer. Done. There is a roadmap for you. I want to be an Android developer. Done. Android developer for you. I want to be a Flutter developer. Of course, Harry say a lot of Flutter. Okay, done. You want to learn blockchain? There is a roadmap for you. So all of this is already done. It's already available and it's free, right? So the path towards whatever role that you want to go through, it's already available in this website called roadmap.sh. So I think they are coming up with cybersecurity, and then maybe you're interested in QA, so testing, right? Then this is a developer roadmap for you as well. All right. And this is how it looks like. For example, I want to be like an Android developer because I have an Android phone and I love using Android. Sure, then go for it. So Android developer roadmap is done for you here. And then you can just go through all of the different, what do you call this? The different steps over here. So everything is already available on the internet, and the path for you to go through is already here. So that's like, if you say in 2017, when I was just learning to code, there isn't this website. I probably have to search on my own, trial and test and whatever, right? But now there is this website for you to, focus on what you want to go through, and then slowly level up along the way as well. So for us, right, when you do self-learning, this is just a hypothetical situation, not real. But like on average, like if you want to self-learn, go through a job, probably 12 months and more, because most of the time you are, working as well. So you're, part-time, that kind of thing. So for Sigma School, when you are in a structured curriculum, this is not fluff. This is what I've already gone through and have already taught. People can learn faster. We have a curriculum, we have guidance from, actual instructors, and then we can help you with questions that you want to, have answered. And then sometimes you also have services that helps you get job postings for people with no, working experience. So we sort out companies that are, are open to hiring people who have no work experience as well. So it cuts short a lot of things. I'm not saying like, oh, go Sigma School, all that's like, you just need to know that if you want to self-learn, yeah, go ahead. It's just that it takes a longer time. But for those who wants to, transition as soon as possible, Sigma School or other coding bootcamps out there can help you to actually make the process faster, right? So this is just my take on this. All right. So secret number 2 is now you know on how to be a developer without any experience or zero talent, right? So everything is already available for you. Roadmaps already available for you. So the last one, right? Secret number 3 is why now is the best time to upskill. So I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Don't have any elephants with me. I wish I have one, but that was a very bad joke. But you might have seen the headlines, right? I don't know if okay. You might see the headlines are, oh my God, big tech companies are firing people. Oh my God, Meta, 10,000 people, Amazon, 10,000 people, Twitter, 9,000 people are firing, right? And then you'll be like, oh no, I don't think tech jobs are available anymore. So the thing is that as an individual, you have to check your facts, right? Okay, because headlines, news are just the purpose of, clicks. They want to, grab the attention of the now so that they can monetize their platform. And no wrong to them because they want to spread the good news or any news to whatever that's going to help you in whatever life that you are going through, right? So the thing is that this is true that big tech companies are actually firing people and it's actually huge. So you can see the spike of, firing. But if you were to go to LinkedIn, right, actually people are still employing, right? So this thing was screenshot yesterday. Okay, so I put in this description, if you were to search in Singapore, junior software developer. All right, why junior software developer? Because if you want to transition, you start as a junior software developer, right? So in Singapore, currently, there is 6,800 junior software developer job postings on LinkedIn, right? If you go to Indeed or if you go to other job, job postings, right? There will definitely be roughly maybe lesser or fewer, but it's in the thousands of range. So that's in Singapore. So if you're in Malaysia, there's 3,100 junior software developer jobs in Malaysia. And the thing is that I have met people who are not Singaporeans who work in Singapore. So for those who are in Malaysia and who wants to work in Singapore, there's a huge opportunity as well. And of course, earning Singapore dollars is a lot more as a Malaysian as well. So there's huge opportunities for you to work in Singapore, and Singaporeans, you are lucky because the government really did very well to have a lot of big companies to set up their APAC or Asia Pacific headquarters in Singapore. So you have Twitter, you have Google, you have Zoom, you have all Visa, you have all of these big tech companies that in Singapore, and they are hiring aggressively. I mean, ByteDance also is also in Singapore as well. So these companies are still hiring, even though a lot of these big tech companies are like firing a lot of them. So if you actually read in the news, right, most of these layoffs, right, are usually recruiters and HRs because they just say, oh, we don't want to hire anymore. But like I said earlier, right, other industries are hiring as well. So maybe healthcare is hiring. Recently, I've interviewed this person. He went through a coding boot camp, and then now he's hired in the Singapore healthcare IT system job. So yeah, healthcare is hiring because in Singapore, we are experiencing, we call this silver generation. So there is more, there's an increasing amount of old people than younger people. So there is a high demand for, healthcare kind of systems upgrade so that, for the silver generation, they need to, have better healthcare kind of like experience, and tech is actually helping them, right? Because right now we also finding a crunch of like healthcare workers. So tech is one of, or I would say the most obvious solution to actually make someone more productive, right? And then I don't know if I add in, but the AI, right? Chat GPT. So AI, the hype of it, right, is basically giving you answers to questions that you probably have to Google 30 minutes, right? And what I see as a person who have gone through so many hypes, AI, right? AI and data science, it was a hype back in 2017, right? When I was actually learning, right? AI was a huge thing, but a lot of people just say, oh, it's just, like a lot of people can't, apply and see like the big impact because it's just driverless cars. It's just like, big data, all of these like jargons out there. And like consumer people like us, we don't see the use of it. Maybe driverless cars, but it was still very like, not so, what do you call that? It wasn't so applicable to us, right? But now, something that we can actually touch, something we can actually use on our day-to-day, AI, right, helps us to become so much more productive that it helps us become, better employees. And this is where that if you don't, apply these AI's tools in your current, like your work, right, it might actually affect your future career. right? So it depends on the industry itself, but I would say that AI is actually pretty exciting for me because I love like making things go faster, right? I want to, create videos faster. AI has a tool for that. I want to, write emails faster. AI has a tool for that. So a lot of these things, if you were to, learn code and then, learn tech skills and then use the tools that's already available to make you as a productive person, then employers see that you're a very high valuable employee. And then at the same time, if you want to be a freelancer, you want to make things faster, you want to code faster, there is this thing called GitHub Copilot, right? It auto generates code for you. If you were to, just put a description, right? For example, build a website and then the code comes out for you, right? And then there's so many things that AI can be a help with, right? That's why a lot of people are like happy, but at the same time, it's scary because I've seen posts, right, where companies actually fire people, right? For example, this called copywriters. So if you don't know what's copywriters, these are people who, writes text so that it helps you learn about their product and maybe convince you to buy the product. ChatGPT is all about text generation, meaning it gives you text for what questions you have. So these copywriters are actually being pushed out of job because AI is a tool that helps you, write text. So all of these are actually happening, but later, maybe not other industries, but you could see that it is actually slowly eating up jobs that was thought to be like still around, but now it's like, okay, maybe I want to use, a chat GPT. For my own personal thing, right? Just to share, I'm using a virtual assistant, meaning right, an assistant that I hire on, this called Fiverr platform. And I actually use chat GPT. So I asked this person who have no social media background, I use chat GPT to just say, okay, make this transcription video, so subtitles of the video into TikTok titles, YouTube descriptions, all of that. So a virtual assistant with no social media background is able to create caption and titles that require someone who with social media skills. And it's cheaper because I don't have to hire a social media person, which is a lot more expensive. And yeah, and it was done very, very cheaply. So I managed to ask an assistant to do social media posting and social media captions and titles for $70, right? It was very cheap because I already have ChatGPT. Okay, so you could see that this is eating up, and yes, it is. We don't know where in this curve of like adoption of technologies we are at, but I would say if you were to learn how to use these technology tools, you have a upper edge to anyone who doesn't use it, right? So we'll see how it goes, but I can say that this will make you a highly valuable employer, or I mean employee as well. And then if you want to build your own business like myself, right, then using these tools actually makes a lot of things so much faster. You don't have to hire you have to hire less people, right? And you can actually build ideas out of this AI, because this AI is not like a secret, it's available, right? You can use the technology to build a product, right? So meaning that, for example, I want to use AI to, to maybe create a way for me to write compositions or write a story. That's a startup idea that's not hard to make anymore, right? Because the AI, you can just use the technology, buy it, and then learn how to use it as a developer, and then you can create a startup, and then hopefully it can be a successful business. So what you might think AI was hard, now it's actually so much easier. And a lot of businesses are actually seeing and experimenting. But I would say if you pick up making a business or part of your business, it is actually going to be so much of what advantage. All right. So these are the three secrets of the future-proof career. I know I've said a little bit more about AI, but this is just something that I see, and I think that will help you in it as well. So number one is why tech is the most lucrative career. Number two is how anyone can be a developer. And number three is now the best time to upskill, right? So I actually have a bonus for you as well, because I've talked to tech recruiters as well for those who are interested to be software developers, right? So what they are looking for, right? So what tech recruiters are looking for, but I also want to see, I also want to share what tech recruiters are not looking for. So you have a base idea on what it is as well. All right. So I have a podcast with him where he was a tech recruiter for 12 years, right? And these are the different tips that he shares with me. So number one is project. So as a software developer with no work experience and all of that, right? What are the because if you don't have a computer science degree, if you don't have computing work experience, then how do you show off that you're an employable person? So the projects, from my experience and from his experience, is that projects that you showcase in your resume or to employers, that is like, we call these easy tutorial projects, right? Where you just copy from YouTube or Udemy, like to-do list, weather app, blog, right? Are something that recruiters are not interested, employers are not really interested. But if you want to have a higher chance to be hired, right, then I would say a more personal project that uses, currently ChatGPT AI, that will be very impressive, right? Or business needs projects such as building a CRM. So if you don't know what's a CRM, it's a custom relation management. So any business apps out there like Notion or Trello, if you build like a clone, and then if the business see this kind of project, they're like, hey, we're actually using Trello. Can we use yours instead? It's like, this is such a huge win if you want to get hired. And then project tracker, so like Trello, or finance dashboard that connects to bank data. So basically projects that is helpful for businesses are usually a win, because these are when employers or recruiters see that, they think that you have business experience, you have work experience. But for a person you don't have work experience or related coding experience, this is a huge win. And right now, because why is it AI? Because right now the Chat GPT technology or the GPT technology, it's already available. So if you learn how to, code and also use the AI, that honestly is not as hard as I thought, because I saw some tutorials out there that you can actually explore. It's actually pretty okay. It's not as hard. It's just put in the technology like like a Lego block. You just put in, like, you have a web application and then put in the AI. Done. You already have a project that uses AI. So personal projects can be your hobby. So I rock climb a lot. So maybe I would say, maybe I create a web application for rock climbers who, wants to improve on their rock climbing using AI. And then I can, do it like that. So that's just a funny idea, but I would say it will be a very impressive one. Why personal project is because it's personal. So if you are some like a hobby project that you're very into it, right? Actually, people will be impressed. So let me share also another story, right? So my first internship my first internship interview, right? The person asked me, oh, Haris, do you have any projects outside your coding bootcamp? So they know that your coding bootcamp projects are not interesting. So they want to see your thought process of the project that you're currently building. So because when you build something on your own, you actually go through what a developer go through, technical problems. So how do you solve technical problems on your own? And that's what a software developer does, right? Okay, second, if you don't know what's GitHub commit history, don't worry. It's basically how much of code you push into this database that is very common called GitHub, right? I know it's not a database for those who know GitHub, but for simplicity's sake, it is GitHub. It's just a database for code projects or code as well. So this, you can think of it as like a, like a tracker of how much you code every single day. And I have a friend who GitHub history is almost full. Means every single day he commit or push code into the database every single day. And then a lot of recruiters and employees were very impressed on how much dedication in terms of contribution. Recruiters are actually looking into this, and employers also are looking into this. It's not a huge factor, but it's a wow factor if you actually code every day, because you are serious about coding as well. And if you're, so for those who want to be a developer, this is actually pretty important as well. So GitHub project. So I've talked about project as well. You need to show it on your GitHub, right? So in your resume, you need, other than your LinkedIn or your personal website, projects are very, very important to showcase. So make sure it is inside your GitHub profile, inside your resume, and make sure you have a link demo or whatever, so that someone can actually see your project and you can also show it off. as well. So for me, this is my own projects. This is like Flutter. I just put it because I was a fan of Flutter, and I mean my GitHub history is like rubbish, but I'm not a developer, right? But if you were to have a lot of like, commits or like everyday commitment, it is something that's pretty impressive. And then fourth thing, right? LinkedIn. So people think LinkedIn might be something that I'll do it when I find a job. I would say right now, create a LinkedIn profile. So Zachary, my previous student that I showed, right? I told him, you want to get a job, just create a LinkedIn profile and then put your role, right? Put your role as a software developer, iOS engineer, whatever. You don't need to be employed first. People need to see what kind of developer you are. So don't put aspiring, don't put to be. Put what developer role you are, because recruiters are also finding people on LinkedIn and see whether you're a good match. And then you could see his text, right? Heed your advice and create a LinkedIn. People actually do hit me up there and offer me opportunities. Opportunities means job opportunities. And then if you really want to go into medium or big tech companies, right? So MNCs or multinational companies like Google, all of that, right? Then you have to practice data structure and algorithm. What is this data structure and algorithm? So basically, they want to train your logic, right? I mean, they want to test your logic. So the most common way is lead code. So some of you might hear lead code here and there. So if you want to be in a big tech company, this is a requirement, right? If you want to be a medium-sized company, this is like kind of a requirement, but it's not as hard. And if you want to work in a startup or small businesses, they don't really test you on this, but it's something good to know. So practice data structure and algorithm as well. And then resume as well. So put in things that are relevant. So tech projects, hackathons. If you don't know what's hackathons, is basically events that you go to and then you code and build an application all under one day. And usually people don't sleep. So hackathons is famous for that. You can go through competitions. If you go through competitions or tech competitions, put that. And then you can also put coding bootcamps experience or any experience that is related to the role that you are applying for. And then there is this like format. If you were to you want to show off your projects, you want to show off your experience, I accomplished something as measured by something by doing something, right? So for example, right, I accomplished building a web application as measured by 1,000 users by doing coding in Flutter, for example. So there is a certain way for you to actually show how valuable you are and how much work you put in. So if you want more information, because this is a summarized version, you can Google my personal formula for a winning resume, right? So don't worry. Yeah, you can just put it down inside your notepad or your notes application, because this is how people read it, and it's a very effective way to show what you can do. And lastly, get a recruiter, right? People think, I don't need to get a recruiter, all of that, do your own kind of thing. Sure, go ahead. But would you go for something that's easier, that helps you along the way? So a recruiter can help you get you find a job, right? You can go to LinkedIn or Indeed and then search for a recruiter and then ask them, hey, I'm a coding bootcamp, can you help me, kind of thing, right? So these kind of things can help them have a better sense of what kind of roles you're looking for, and it also reduces the pain of applying for jobs as well, right? So applying for jobs is not a very easy, or people like to go to kind of like resource, right? I mean activity, right? It's painful. You apply hundreds of jobs, maybe 3 reply, and then you 1 interview. So it's very like it doesn't feel good because you get rejected. But that's the game that you need to go through when you apply for jobs. So why not have a recruiter who has all of the context that context, meaning people are looking for tech talent, and then they can just refer you to them, and then you are able you can land a job as well, which I think is pretty good. And lastly, just maybe another advice, right? If you were to get a software developing job, expect it to be a long process. So average person to get a software developer job, if you were to do it on your own, it will take around 3 to 9 months just searching for a job. I have a friend who went through 9 months, right, looking for jobs and doing his own projects. 9 months, and that is sometimes a reality for some. So don't expect it to like 1 month, get a job, 1 week, get a job. So expect it to be a long process, but I will say personally, it is a worth it adventure because of how much opportunities you can get for someone who learns tech. So this is a software dev strategy that in Sigma School that we have, right? We help you learn web development. We have challenges and projects. We do code review. So meaning you type code and we actually review it so that at least you have some quality, feedback. And then this allows you to become a much sought after developer. We also have weekly lessons and accountability. So because when you learn by yourself, you are your own accountability. If you have success in previous ways of doing self whatever, for example, maybe you've exercised for 6 years, you already know how to do accountability most of the time. But yeah, we offer that because this makes you a little bit more faster in terms of learning and also getting towards your goals, right? Next one is also resume review. Data structure algorithm, we do some of that, GitHub review as well, and LinkedIn review as well, right? So all of these are a dev strategy that Sigma School has done some of, and this is something that I would highly recommend you for you to go through as well. All right, so these are the students that have gone through with us. So Yi Jiang, 19 years old, couldn't afford college after high school, became a tuition teacher to help family pay bills, and then he got a front-end developer job in 1 month, right? For Melissa, she had a degree in accounting and then got a job as a tax accountant. So maybe you're like a university student. After first, second, or even third or fourth year, you might not want to do the job that you have been training for, or even after you get a job, you actually didn't like it. So what's the next, jump, right? Because now you're so into the subject or the degree, you might not have any more opportunities. But learning tech, right? She now is working as an IT project manager. So she got a job after 5 months. So not only becoming a software developer, there's other roles out there. Being a project manager, being if you want to learn design, you can also learn design. I mean, if you learn tech, if you want to learn design, just learn design. But if you want to be like, for example, there is this called UX engineer. So user experience engineer, meaning that a person knows how to code, but at the same time knows how to create a user experience, right? So that's a very niche kind of like skill set, but at the same time, it pays well, right? Because you're an engineer, but you also like design. So you can be a UI engineer as well. You build the design and you code it out. So because being a software developer or an IT person or tech person, when you combine another skill, sales engineer, it is a highly sought after kind of role and also a well paid role as well. So anything that you know how to do in tech, you just combine one skill set. For example, a digital marketing engineer, you know how to code, and then you can automate process of digital marketing. It's like when you say that to an employer, if you say that to me, because I'm running a part of the as a partner, I'm looking for people who are more productive. That's such a huge like it makes you so much more attractive than just being a salesperson. So like, okay, I can hire another salesperson. Engineer, okay, I can hire a software developer. I mean, if I were to build a tech product, of course software developer is something, but if I can combine two of them, two skills, it's a huge win, right? So another student of ours, Kais Ali, right? So he was a refugee from Myanmar, currently Malaysia, and he used to work in restaurants to pay the bills, and he got a software developer job in 1 month, right? So Michael Munar, he's from the Philippines. He's a fresh graduate degree in, I think, game development. And then he joined us, and then he learned web development, building websites, and he doubled his salary as a backend developer. So he learns how to, code you in the data backends kind of stuff after 3 months as well. And then Kelvin applying for diploma to be an English teacher. Then he realized he didn't enjoy what he was doing, so he decided to explore tech, and then he became a full stack developer and got a job after 3 months as well. And lastly, Piers pursuing his accounting, right, paper, lost interest while studying. I totally understand that, and decided to explore tech as well. And he joined us and got a front-end developer job. So join us. We used to be like the Hacker Collective. So he joined the Hacker Collective, but like Sigma School, we are also looking for people like software developers. If we like you and and you show us that you can code, we actually hire you because we also have projects that we are working on as well. So it's like not only other companies, businesses are hiring software developers, we are also hiring because we see the demand of it as well, right? So other than the three secrets that I share with you, I give you the bonus because I think this is huge value, because I see the huge opportunity of this, and tech will never run away. The industry will never run away from my view as a person in the industry like for 5 years already, because there will always be new technologies out there. And being a person with experience in tech, I can pick it up faster than someone who doesn't. And if the opportunity is huge, right, that means the money is huge. So for example, AI startups, you join AI, you learn a bit about AI, how it works kind of thing, and then you know how to code AI. Yeah, you're highly sought after. Back when blockchain was popular, if you know blockchain, you learn by most of the time developers, they just learn in a few months or 1 month by themselves because they're software developers. They know how to learn, right? Then they become blockchain developers and they have a lot of job opportunities out there as well. So all of these are not something that like, oh yeah, this industry will die down 3 years. I don't think so, because tech will be inside our lives. And then like AI right now is a hype. I don't know what the future will hold, but I believe that anything that you do right now will be so much faster with AI, right? So that is what I think will happen. So with all of this that I've done so far to collate all the information, I want to have a permission to reveal what you can actually do and what we can offer to help you grab this opportunity that can, literally change your life. Because it literally changed my life, because I was, working $1,000 per month. And then, I became a software developer, and then I had so much opportunities presented to me just because I learned how to tech. So would you mind me revealing what we have to offer? Hopefully you do. So I want to offer you or reveal to you, we have this complete software developer program that we have in Sigma School that helps you, build this developer mindset, building projects, going through code, all of that, and learn how a software developer actually, goes through how they see a design, and then they go through the code itself. Because usually what developer does is that you give us a problem, we will code out the problem, right? So that the problem will be solved. That's about it. And the thing is that the best thing about this is that that solution or that code that we build can impact millions of people. And you just hire one person to solve the problem. That's why software developers are being, paid as high as you've seen so far. Like in the slides, $100,000, right? Like insane, right? So in this developer program, we help you learn the developer skills so that you can get a job, so that you're able to, maybe go through freelance and also maybe side income for you as well. And that I think is pretty high paying. So who is this for? Who does this work for? So if you're a student, you want to, explore technology, yes, this program is for you. If you're fresh graduates, I've met people, fresh graduates, similar fresh graduates in psychology, and then they be like, okay, maybe psychology is not for me. In Singapore, psychology sector is not the best sector. They don't really hire a lot. It's very competitive because a lot of people learn psychology, not many people get jobs. So these people are actually exploring. And usually psychology students in universities, I think you're pretty smart. And I've seen psychology students like myself or other psychology university graduates becoming software developers. So this is for you. Or if you really don't like what you study and you don't think there's a nice prospect to it, yes, this thing is for you. So non-university people like myself, I mean, I kind of consider myself non-university because I quit university, right? So yeah, this is for you as well if you want to find a better opportunity. So yeah, full-time employees, I think someone asked, right? Like if you're able to learn after work. I have been teaching people who are working full-time jobs last year. So I teach in SMU, right? Academy. And then these people are actually full-time employees, and they are like learning from 7 to 10. And they're putting in hours because they know that with this tech skill, right? Their opportunities not only in their own industry, maybe like they're in sales, right? Now they're open to like, oh my God, I can be a sales engineer. Oh my God, I can be a software developer. Oh my God, I can be a project manager that learns IT. So it's like all of this is already available. And this program itself, it is very flexible. If you want to do it full time, you can. If you want to do it part time, you can. If you want to do working hours, you can. If you want to do it like maybe 2 hours a week, you can as well. Then I also have students who are designers. They start off designers and then they design for developers. Then they be like, they are very interested, like, hey, how are these developers able to, create a website with my design? So they want to be UI engineers, right? Designers, skill set and knowledge, but they are also able to develop website, develop web application, develop mobile applications. I have students who were designers as well. Marketing people, pretty common as well. They want to learn how things works, right? Marketing is just like, building ads or campaigns, all that. But then how do you then make this into something more automated? Maybe you want to have a workflow that's more automated, or you want to build an application to help the marketing campaigns perform better and whatnot. So yeah, marketing. Accountants, you deal with a lot of data. How to use code to actually automate data and a lot of things that can be automated, and then all of this. So yeah, this works as well. Startup founders, usually that I talk to, right? They always are looking for tech people, because startup founders usually are the ideal people. So I have classmates back in my coding bootcamp who were startup founders, and she wants to learn tech because she wants to know how the website works, and she wants to hire good developers, right? You, as a founder, if you want to hire tech people, the first thing is to actually know how tech people talk, because if you don't know how tech people talk, then you can't really attract them. So if I know what a tech person, for example, if I'm interviewing someone for a tech role, if I know tech jargons, I know how tech works, it makes your life so much easier versus trusting all the thing to the tech person, right? Or if you cannot find people, usually the case, then you can be the founder and also the tech founder, because you learn how to code as well. And yeah, startup founders usually try to learn by themselves as well. And then freelancers, right? Freelancers, I never dive deep into it, right? But like for freelancers itself, there's many freelance you can do, right? Freelance maybe is the gig economy. You deliver food, right? But it's very taxing to your body because it's a physical work. Then you want to find something that's not so physically, tiring, right? Maybe you want to, code websites. Yes, people are looking for people who can build websites, or I think people are looking for people who can build applications as well. So you can do this, maybe after work, you want more income. So you can, get clients and, pay you thousands of dollars for building web applications and mobile applications. So basically, in summary, anyone who wants to understand tech and build web or mobile applications as well, right? Okay, so in this development program, what you're going to get is a guide for you to build digital products, get jobs, win clients and projects, and build your own tech startup. And this whole thing, I think is valued for $1,997. So because we give you guidance, because yes, you can go through YouTube, but what we realize is that a lot of times you get distracted, right? Oh, you like watch some YouTube tutorial, and then there was a suggestion on the right saying, oh, you learn this, this thing here. So it can get very distracted, actually get very tiring, right? So we actually give you a guide that you can focus to build your base, because we want you to be adaptable developers. We will teach you the base so that after you go through this software developer program, right? If you want to learn, building a coding, a game, it's actually easier versus like learning on your own, right? So that is what we are providing you. Then other than that, we give you the framework of taking a part of web applications, because if you want to be a developer, because myself, when I was a software developer, I was tasked to grab the design from the designer, and then I have to make it into a mobile application. Same thing. If you're a web developer, you need to grab the design from a designer and then you need to build it into a web application. So we're actually teaching you how to do this, right? So like, for example, we teach you like how you want to clone an Airbnb design into an actual web application. So all of this, you actually get used to. It becomes a skill that you actually learn, and it's actually pretty sought after because that is a day-to-day developer job. And then for those, we also, like, for example, logic, right? Like you want to grab data or from a user and then put inside a database. So that's a task that as a developer you have to go through. So all of this is valued or $2,997 as well. Totally value of $4,994. And this framework that allows you to take apart or just cloning web applications or making tasks into code is something that is sought after. At the same time, a guide for you to build products, get jobs, and win clients as well. Not only that, we also have 2 times weekly live coaching sessions so that you can learn how to code by working on software projects with other students. So as a developer, you don't work by yourself. You work with other people, right? In a company, usually most of the time, unless you're in a startup and you're like the first developer, but in a company, you're working with other people. It might not be another software developer. It might be a designer. It might be your employer. It might be a project manager. So you need to learn how to work with other people. I've talked to tech managers, tech lead. You know what's the most important thing other than coding skills is communication skills. If you don't know how to communicate, it's something that they don't really want to hire, because if you like have no experience communicating or you don't prefer communicating with people, it's hard for you to be in a team. So these live coaching sessions not only makes you learn how to code, but working for other students allows you to build out their communication skills. And I believe that is a very good skill that you can present to your employers or actually prove to them. And that is valued with $3,997 of value, totaling of $8,991 as well, with a framework to clone projects and also the guide for you to build your base of your code. And at the same time, we also have priority access to freelancing part-time projects and jobs, right? So actually people are coming up to us, right? To, oh, do you have developers to build projects for us? It's not like a one-time thing. It's many times people ask us that we say we don't really have developers because it's like we need to find people, we need to train them, all of that. So there is what do you call that? There is people or clients that's coming up to us as well, and we will give priority access to you guys because you are with us, and that's value for $997 value, totaling of $9,988 with weekly coaching lessons, a framework to build web applications and build a base from the guides as well. And lastly, we have unlimited lifetime one-to-one support and mentorship forever until you achieve your goal, becoming a software developer, because this support is helpful because when you were to learn by yourself, you don't really have support or community to help you and the guidance and mentorship for you to actually reach the goal. And that's valued for $4,997 value with access to jobs, freelance projects, part-time jobs with the coaching session framework, and also the guidance to build your base as a software developer, totaling the value of $14,985. And with this, right, if all of this did was to help you get past your fear of your tech and be able to build any software product you want, would it be worth it? To help you get a job in tech and enhance your current job, being a more employable, not more employable, but more attractive employee, will be worth it. And if this was to just enable you to close and implement one profitable project, would it be worth it? So the thing is that if I had two choices, right? So the first option is to, make this as low as possible so that I can reach as many people as I can, right? And usually these are like, Udemy projects, like, okay, I create once and then I ignore, right? So, but the second option is a high investment that enable me to focus more time on it, because I believe that this, software development program that we built so far will allow me to put in my investment that have gone through many years of like teaching and being a software developer. I'm not just a teacher who just teach. I'm a practitioner. I've been through a software developer. I know what's the workflows, what employees are looking for, how to communicate, what are the things that they look out, and how to be a software developer. That's why I gone for the second option, because this will make you become someone who's not just like a, we call this code monkey. People is just like to code all that. Nothing wrong, but it's just like if you want to be someone who's like more future proof, who looks out for new technologies, being more updated with the technology. This is something that I put my heart and soul into it as well. So you could see that this is why it's a good deal for $4,985, right? Because a lot of these things comes from a lot of things that I've experienced myself, I've taught, I have seen, I've experienced, I have, mentored all of this, right? And for today, for lifetime support forever until you achieve your goal, it is only $2,200 today. So like this is the price that's cheaper than the coding booklet that I was in. And this will forever make you change your life, like what I did. Like I paid more than this, and it opened up to me to so much more opportunities out there. So there is the QR code, and there's also the link over here, simaschool.co/enroll. So sorry, this is SGD. So if you are in Malaysia, it will be converted in your currency as well. But this is something that I've gone through, I've put my effort in it, and this actually will translate to something that I feel will help you get the job that you want and open up so much opportunities that you will, have much more things to look forward to, right? Because sometimes you are in a job that you don't really want, but then you want to find better opportunities, and this is the way to do it as well. So the number one reason why most people fail is because like when you were to like learn by yourself, it is okay, it's free. But the thing is that it takes a longer time for you to do it, and you get distracted. And when you go through by yourself, learning code is hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Learning code is very, very hard, right? So the thing is that if you were to able to have guidance to push you through it, right? Have a community to say, hey, it's okay, we've been through it before, and there's people that have really gone through it successfully. This is something that can help you propel to the way of being a software developer, or basically future proofing your career as well, right? And then we also have a guarantee, meaning that if you don't find a job, then you will have a money back guarantee. We give you $2,200, right? So you basically complete the whole course. And if you are unable to find a job, then sure, we will give you the money back guarantee. So we really want your best interest at heart. We don't want, it's like, honestly, I don't I don't need your money, but because we really want you to get a job. It's not like I can just be a software developer, to be honest. A lot of people ask me, Haris, why not just be a software developer? You can earn so much more money, right? Like I'm in it because of this, because it literally changed my life. Like I've been teaching coding, helping people become software developers for the past like 2-3 years, right? And I've been a software developer for like maybe 1 to 2 years, right? And I still want to go through this because I see the value in it. I can see that you can actually make a better change in your life, right? So that's why we put this guarantee as well. So the thing is that either way, if you don't buy this course, either way, you will still pay. What do you mean by that? So for example, that $2,200, right? Either way, that money, right, you still spend on something, right? You still spend on food, you still spend on clothes, you still spend on things, right? So these kind of things don't really propel you to the next level or opportunities out there. So it will still be spent either way. All right. So, but if you were to spend it on something that actually, upskill your current skill set, bring you more opportunities out there, then it will be a higher investment towards you, right? This is an investment that you actually can willing to go through so that your earning potential becomes bigger as well. So what will happen if you don't say yes? So similarly, like if you don't say yes, you will just carry on with whatever you have, and then you go, life goes on, and for sure. And if you like that life, sure, go ahead. But for those who are looking for better opportunities, you are looking to, upskill, you are looking for, a better life for yourself, right? Like, yes, coding skills, all of that, sure, great and all. But for me, it was not the coding skill, like, is the biggest thing. It was like, I could afford things that I couldn't think that I could afford, right? Like, let me share, like, recently, a few days ago, I'm able to afford my mom a new phone, right? And previously, if I were to work part-time, right, I couldn't afford because I was working $1,000 per month. But now, like, I could afford money, like, I could spend money for my family because I don't have to worry because I know that opportunities out there, for me, because I have the coding skills, I have the experience. Because of that skill that I picked up, I'm able to have opportunities out there that's, open for me because I could help myself and help my family around it. And like, if my parents want money, I can give it, right? Last time I couldn't because I was earning $1,000. They were, giving me money, but now I'm giving back them the money as well. And money is just a resource. Like I said earlier, right? Like you will just spend your money either way, right? So the thing is that what are you going to spend your money on, right? In this investment that you're going to upscale, or you just going to spend that money into something else that you do on a daily basis, like food or Starbucks or clothing as well. So, like, honestly, like, after seeing how the money that I put in myself in the coding bootcamp, anything that I want to upscale, right? It's because I've seen the results. Like, I know that upscaling, putting the education, and I pay for it, right? It actually helps me earn more money, right? So this is something that I've gone through myself as well. And you might be thinking, okay, Haris, that's like, oh my God, there's so much information out there. I can just Google it, YouTube. Sure, you have information. Information is plenty out there. Go ahead. If you are a super disciplined person, you have gone through a transformation yourself, go ahead. But if you just have information and you just don't do anything about it, it's just information, right? So Tony Robbins says information is just potential energy. Change is change is kinetic energy. So if you don't know science, meaning that, for example, like, information is just a battery, but change is basically building things that will use the battery into something amazing, right? So your phone without a battery, there's nothing. But with a battery, you can't do many things, right? So hopefully the analogy works, but with information, you just don't really see change. So you need to actually do something about it. And if you do it by yourself, sure, go ahead. But if you want a result-oriented kind of thing where we give you results, we actually see progress with the information that you have, then will be for you as well. All right, sorry, I know it is a long presentation, but let's go through the Q&A as well. Right. So first question is okay. So if you have any questions, do put in the chat. And thank you for also spending the time, like 28 minutes more of the time. Supposed to be until 8:30, but thank you so much for those who were in. So the first job is age an issue in securing a developer job? So I have already taught student who he himself is like 42 years old. All right. So he he is one of the fastest students. He's 42 years old, and I believe that he can get a developer job, right? It's not of like ageism, right? Like, it's not at all, because if you can prove the work that you can do, people will hire you. And now there is remote work. If you know how to use the tech tools like Zoom, Slack, Discord, whatever communication skills, and they don't really see you. age is not Age is not a number, right? I mean, age is not a number. Age is not a thing, right? If you were to do freelance, nobody cares how old you are. If you can do the job, they will hire you, and you can do the job well, they will hire you. So age is not an issue. Yes, like, people, like, you see like startups, a lot of young people out there, but like, this is not like it's not a common thing. It's basically like startups are willing to hire people who like are 42 years old getting a job. I interviewed the person who was a taxi driver. He's 54 years old, and he managed to get a job as a software developer, right? Like, 54 years old. right? 54 years old, get the software developer job, right, in a startup. But it was part of the program. But the startup was happy with the results that they gave him. And then now he's working in the hospital information system because they don't really care about your age. Like you can do the job, great, right? Okay, good. All right. So hopefully I answered that question. Okay, second question. With AI being able to do web apps, wouldn't SWE or software engineering jobs be under threat in the near future? So there's an answer that I can't give you like a straight away, because if I know the answer, I will be very, very rich. I can't see the future, right? But the thing is that what I can say is that if you were a person who knows how to use the AI tool, you will be a very valuable employee, right? Software engineers are not being replaced by AI now because, right, when AI is being generated to create web applications or create code, who is going to do that AI service? A software developer, right? And then when it generates code using AI, who is going to read the code? A software engineer. So the thing is, right now, a software engineer is still required for you to go through the code or web application, because not all so a misconception is that not all AI tools will give you the best results. We haven't reached at that point. Now AI, right, Chat GPT, right, it will give you some wrong answers as well. Web applications being built by AI is not the best looking web application, right? If you want like a template, yes, AI can do that. But if you want like amazing animations, amazing customizations, you need someone, most likely a software engineer, to actually build a web application, because AI is not there yet. It is slowly coming up to it, but it's not going to replace software engineers anytime soon, right? It's actually increasing the software engineer jobs, because now a lot of AI tools are being built. So software engineers need to build that AI tool, right? And it basically makes your life faster as a productive employee, right? So all of these are still something that we are hiring, right? Developers are hiring, because I cannot rely on AI to build a web application that's customized to mine. I need someone still to build it as well. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. Right. Third question, is it possible to learn through Sigma after work hours? Is it advisable for slow learners? So the thing is, like, I've already taught many people, right? From very slow learners to very fast learners to very medium learners as well, right? And the thing about Sigma school is that we don't have a hard deadline, right? We don't tell you, okay, in 4 months, you need to do this, do this, do this, do this. In this week, you need to do this, do this, do this, right? That was what I faced as a slow learner in a coding bootcamp. Because in that week, I have to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then I need to present a portfolio built in these like technologies, right? And then like if I couldn't catch up, I feel like shit, because like, oh my god, I'm not good enough, all of that. So we at Sigma School, we actually solve this problem because we say, okay, do this project at your own time. Once you're done, we send us your project through a link, and then we will review it. So like I said, if you were to only have 2 hours per week to do your own thing, right? Sure. I mean, 2 hours to learn code. Sure, go ahead, because we understand that everyone is not in the same, situation. Not everyone has time to learn because there's a lot of commitments out there. But you know that you still want to learn, because, right, for me, what's more important is you wanting to learn and actually learning and actually building projects, right? Like if you want to get your jobs as fast as possible, go through a full-time coding bootcamp, but I cannot guarantee you that it will be the best environment. So I will honestly say that if you know that you're a slow learner and you only have a few hours to commit per week, then Sigma School is for you as well. Right. So another question, adaptable developer, code agnostic, learning how to learn, have been a recurring theme and focus, especially tutorial projects don't impress employer and client. What can you share about building this aspect, right? So I talk about like, yeah lah. So this question is basically saying, how do you build projects that can impress employers? So the thing is that you then yourself should be an employer, right? Meaning like, okay, if I was an employer and I what do you call it? I employ a software developer, right? What will be impressive to me, right? So then, so it can be as simple as like, oh, something that connects you very deeply. Meaning that, like I say, if you have a personal hobby, find a problem in that personal hobby of yours. There's usually a lot of problems in your personal hobby or even your personal work. Find a problem that it is inside, a problem inside your personal work. Maybe not personal work or your full-time work, right? Maybe for example, oh, I have emails I have a lot of emails. And the thing is, I have to reply to a lot of these emails. Is there a way for me to automate? Yes, there is. So the thing is that find problems around your life. It can be your personal life, it can be your professional life. And then after that, Google the solutions. And the thing is that it's not a one day thing. These projects will take months, right? But the thing is that you will actually go through how a developer solves that problem, because the problem that you will come up with is a problem that employers come up with, a problem that companies come up with. They usually say, oh, we want to automate this. And then for yourself, oh my God, I have a lot of data. How do I automate this? So what you do is you Google the problem that you have in Google, and then maybe you can search on YouTube if there is any solutions out there. Because once these problems is very personal to you, and then you share it to employees and tech recruiters, they will be on board and they know that this is not something you just build from tutorials, right? This is something that you build personally for you, and they will be actually be happy to see that you build your own personal projects, because that means you are someone who are able to learn by yourself, right? Number one is very important, learn by yourself. And number two, how you can apply what you learn by yourself. Because these two things are very important as a developer. As a developer, they're not going to spoon feed you how to do things. They're going to like, okay, here's this, here's this, here's this, please solve it, right? I mean, of course, they will go through onboarding process. Okay, these are the tools that we get. But your actual job is to, okay, we're going to give you a problem to solve if hopefully you have the opportunity, or a task to do, and then you have to do it, right? Because the task is usually a solution to a problem. So find problems that you face, and then slowly solve it, right? And then it can be a big problem. If it's a big problem, then write down the step-by-step solutions that you think is the solution, step by step. And then step one solution, see how you can do in code or in any tech tool out there. And then that will be very, very impressive already. So this is what I call being a adaptable developer. Because when I was a software developer in a startup, right, I was not only good at Flutter, I had to learn other tools, right? So there is a if you heard of AWS, Amazon Web Service. So a lot of these services out there, for example, database service is already like built by other companies like Amazon or Google. So you just need to add this service into your application. And that service requires me to learn JavaScript. So what? And the thing is that I didn't have much experience in JavaScript, but I learned on the job. And that skill is very important because, for example, Flutter no longer is a framework that people are hiring. What if it's another one called Blutter, right? And since I'm a software developer, I know the basics, I know how to build applications, but it's just another framework, another language I'm able to learn and then build on it. And then after that, be employable, because once a framework that is very popular like blockchain, I can just learn on the spot, build applications that is useful for the business and then or useful for me. Then I can, because once you build something personal, you get very excited. And people love that because people, get excited with you. And then since you're excited, since you're enthusiastic, they want to hire you because they know that you are a person that actually solves problems and actually builds solutions. Okay, another question. So, do a data analytics need program developer experience? Me, zero experience in software development. Right. So, data analytics, right? I would say software development will help you in your data analytics, meaning that, like, right now, if you want to do data analytics, right, and you want to level up to data science, you need to learn to code. And as a data analytics, you are using tools, right, to help you make data understandable for businesses. And then there are tools, sometimes it requires you use to code. I have a friend in Shopee, right? He does data analytics for his work, but he has to learn code. He has to learn Python. He has to learn SQL, and he had to learn it. He didn't have experience. He's not a software developer, right? But he had to learn it. But what if, right? He went to the job. He knew software developer, and now his employees say, okay, we're doing data analytics, and you need to learn SQL, and you need to learn our tools, and then you need to learn Python, right? But you, as a experienced software developer, was like, okay, Ken, no problem. Next week, okay, I know how to do already. They'll be impressed because you know how to do it. Because once you know as a software developer, you know how to actually use tools very effectively, very fast. You tell me, Haris, can you create like an automation in Excel? I have no Excel experience, but I'm very confident that I can create an Excel automation using VBA or whatever. Because first of all, I'm a software developer. I know how to read through the tools. Second is that if there's code, right, then I'm able to actually, use whatever that's already available and then build a solution to it. Right. So these are the things that I'm not saying like, oh, Haris, your ego damn big. It's like, no, I have experience in it. And I've learned many frameworks that I was like not familiar with. But then I'm able to actually build a solution faster than someone who have zero experience. So you say data analytics. Yes, with software development, you can learn data analytics fast. And I would say that once people know that you're a very good analytics and you know how to code, the next level is data scientist, and that's where like math comes in, and then you actually level up even more into a more like high paying job, because data science is a harder job to learn. But if you have coding experience, you know what how a software developer works, you become more of a employable person as well, right? So right, thank you so much. It's already 9:12. Thank you for this question. Hopefully, this is a valuable session. And if you're interested to start with your software development experience, you can go to this website, go and scan a QR code, and I will be there. And if you have any question, you can look me up on LinkedIn, or you can go Sigma School as well. And then I will see you there. All right. Thank you so much. Have a nice night and all the best to you. Goodbye.